I think the shock now in the West is that the police brutality that we've usually seen towards colored people is now also towards white people. Once they dehumanize you, they can brutalize you. It's not that colonialism has ended. It's just, it's gotten a facelift so that it's more sustainable. And once, for example, you see one country trying to nationalize their resources, you know, we need to now...
Time to go and give them democracy.
You know?
When you find oil, USA.
America with the fucking
Knock, knock, motherfucker. It's the United States of America, and I hear you guys got oil that isn't under my possession.
There are no heroes. There are no idols. You shouldn't wait for anyone to speak up. It doesn't matter. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about anyone. Don't personalize this issue. It's very dangerous to tie a person to a cause. What ends up happening? Freediving is like that. Is realizing that you are stronger than you think. You know, you go down underwater, the pressure starts to increase, you want to breathe, you start to get a panic, and then you're like, listen, you're good. You're fine. If you are going...
As a Moroccan...
If you're going to decide that you are Moroccan, ahlan wa sahlan.
Right.
But if you're going to decide the occupation, then you need to let go of your Moroccan tea.
Like A$AP Ferg said, Alhamdulillah.
Why do you do that?
Welcome back to the Habibi House podcast, the #1 Arab podcast. And we have a very special guest today, all the way from Egypt, Rahma Zein.
Hi guys.
Is it Rahma?
Is it Rahma?
Or is it Rama?
Rahma Zein.
We have a problem with your Arabic. Do you want to bring up the tamalli? Say tamalli معك.
Tamalli معك.
Oh my God.
Right.
This is why we have a problem.
Tamalli معك.
This is our problem.
You are the problem.
Rahma, which means...
You are embodying the problem right now.
Anyways, so...
Rahma means mercy, صح?
Yes.
أهلا وسهلا فيك.
الله يبارك لك.
No mercy for you.
This is not the first time I heard this joke, and I can assume that you know this is not the first time I heard this joke.
I know, because it's not the first time. You're probably... Never mind.
Anyways, so...
نورتي LA المصر. أهلا وسهلا فيك.
When did you get here?
4 days ago.
4 days ago.
Yeah.
And for 4 days, she hasn't had her luggage.
Yeah.
Really?
They lost my luggage.
What?
Why?
Yeah.
That sucks.
She's been wearing other people's clothes and stuff.
Well, it's good. This is Arab community. Like the first day, my luggage isn't gone. I found every single person in LA who's Egyptian, Moroccan, Palestinian. I have 3 tobes, 4.
Whose shirt is that?
It's insane. No, but this one's mine. Thank you, guys.
She posted her story, please. I have no clue.
I didn't need to. You have the aunties here as well. I didn't know you guys had them here as well.
Yeah. Oh, of
Tante
course.
Mona called Tante Suzanne, called Tante Munel. رحمة هنا من غير الشنط.
All you have to do is tell Arab.
Yeah,
tell her you like her shirt. تفضلي
تفضلي حبيبتي from
It's yours.
It's yours. Literally.
Yeah, literally.
But like, some people will actually accept لما تقولي لهم مقدمة. They'll be like, oh, طب هاتها.
But I'll tell you a funny story about that, and this just goes to show the difference in nuances.
Yeah.
You know how you go into a shop and then you're buying something and the guy's like, you're like, how much is this?
Yeah.
It's like for nothing.
Oh yeah.
We get that, and then there's the little play that happens. لا, how much? لا, for you, for nothing. على راسي مش عارف.
And then they give you the high price.
And then you لا بس شوية عشان برضي. But I watched this happen in front of my eyes. This foreigner walks into a shop. And she's like, how much is this for? And the guy's like, for you, for nothing. And she did. She took the bag and she walked out. He's like, what are you doing? And she's like, but you said for nothing.
Yeah.
She didn't know the dance.
Yeah.
So it's just, and that little small tiny story just showcased most of the misunderstanding and the
between American culture with Arab.
Between
the West and East.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in Egypt, my mom would make me leave the store so she can negotiate. She's like, you can't speak English around the guy or else he'll
know
double the price.
Yeah.
I was buying some Egyptian cotton, you know, and the guy, he was like, what's your name? I'm like, Atif. He's like, Atif, that's my name too. And I'm like, is it really? Or are you trying to sell me the shirt? So
No,
we
but
bought
I mean,
the
this
shirt.
is everywhere. Wherever you go, especially markets and stuff, it's sometimes fun. It's negotiation, you know.
Yeah.
And you get to know the person, and it becomes a little story. It's not just a card machine and you just pay and you go and there's
For
no
sure.
human interaction.
Yeah.
You end up knowing the guy and his mom and his daughters and where they're going to school and
Yeah,
what's happening.
yeah.
And it's never just like you walk in, buy something and walk out.
Not so transactional.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not tit for tat. It's
Right.
based on human interaction, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
And I'd hope it stays like this.
yeah, inshallah. I actually had this as one of the topics I wanted to cover. Maybe we can come back to it. But يعني, so many little nuances you can observe. مثلا the way we treat our friends. كمان يعني, you were talking about strangers in the store. There's so many things we can get into. But
There are this is something that we need to remember, and this is why I was just talking to you about this, the whole Arabs in the diaspora and Arabs in the region. There needs to be that kind of coming back to one another and having that communication.
Yeah.
We all have our different issues and our different misunderstandings, and I understand for a lot of Arabs who are in the West, and naturally so, you want to fit in, you want to
Right.
be a part of things. And I think with everything that's happening, you're realizing that, especially with a lot of your friends, they wanted to remain your friends as long as you're on script.
yeah,
As long as you go off script, start speaking for Palestine, start speaking for unity,
Yeah.
start to really think about your roots, what you've had to whitewash. You're no longer sitting on the table.
Right.
And this is why we have an issue with the politicians who've needed to appease the system in order to get to the places that they're in today. So that they're accepted on such a high level. But once they're off script, you're no longer here. You're
Right.
no longer with us.
Right.
And I think the shock now in the West is that the police brutality that we've usually seen towards colored people is now also towards white people. And I was speaking to this with someone who's super active with this, Aja Monet. You've met her.
Asia Monet, yeah.
And she pointed this out to me. She was like, the police brutality is no longer the cliche picture of the white policeman, black man,
Yeah.
or whichever.
Everybody
policeman.
gets the police
now
brutality.
everyone, as long as
Equal
and
rights.
and it's
Equal.
dawned, and I think this is what's dawned on them as well. That even us, when we go off script, we're no longer
Yeah.
sitting on the table.
yeah. I mean, to see the way they're treating college students on a college campus is absolutely insane, right? Like they're literal college students. You would imagine they'd have some sort of care when they deal with them, or freedom. That's like colleges are supposed to be the place you can speak your mind, right?
It's also a business, so they have to appease the donors. And if the donors have a problem with it and say we're not going to give you any more money, then the school has a problem with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was at USC this week, and USC like pays the LAPD like $2 million a year or something, and that's why they come. They come and take care of situations.
Yeah,
of
I was
people
there, and it was just insane.
Where do they get that money from?
They get that from the endowments and the $80,000 tuition.
So
Yeah.
see the circus that's happening where like you pay the tuition and then like the
Are you
They use-
trolling your shirt right
They
now?
use
Yeah.
the tuition to arrest you, basically. Yeah.
get West Bank hoodie.
Oh, shout out West Bank hoodie and the West Bank in general.
Yeah.
Say تملي معاك one more time.
تملي معاك.
This is it's all
Yeah,
you know,
so
connected.
We're activating the inner
Fish.
حاجة
كده.
Oh my God.
Let's go.
Yeah, so
لا.
it's funny that the money that's going at the 2 million for the LAPD is coming out of the students' pockets, and then they're getting beat up by the people that they're paying. It's just like
And also like the
comparable to
students,
taxes too.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's
Sorry,
part
we're
of the
paying for the
college
gen-
experience, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
You
get
get
beat up by
arrested
the
and
LAPD.
beat up.
I don't know if it is.
No, I was just going to say it's all. This is part of why everyone is so shocked. It's just the double standards, the hypocrisies, all of this kind of blunt lying.
Yeah.
You tell
Yeah.
these students, we want you to change the world. We want sustainability. We want you to be the pioneers of the future.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
You know,
And as soon as you do that, you raise a stick to them.
It's like the
It makes sense.
valedictorian at USC. The smartest girl in the school has a minor in resistance to genocide.
that's a minor.
That's her minor.
I wish I knew about that.
Yeah,
and it's
and now what's happening? You know,
Wow.
she's resisting. She wasn't even resisting. She didn't do anything, but they canceled because of their donors.
Well, you went to US, so why do you think that happened?
I think, well, they were just scared that she was gonna say something about Palestine, and she didn't even write her speech yet. So I think
the one where they canceled the whole
they canceled
speech.
they canceled the valedictorian speech,
Yeah.
and then they canceled all the other speeches, and now they canceled the whole graduation ceremony, basically.
It's
And
a private school, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. So there's.
This is what's been happening. It's like human rights ends when Arabs are involved.
Yeah, yeah.
This is where they draw the line. Animal rights, human rights, women rights. And because this is what they've done for so long by owning the narrative, they made it seem like all the issues were collectively all put into that region.
Yeah.
Not to negate that we have our issues. But these are women rights. This is an international plight.
Yeah.
Human rights, international.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
You cannot concentrate it on one region because once they, dehumanize you, they can brutalize you.
Call
And
them
this is why
animals.
when you hear thousands, it's scary. And this is what's really scary for us.
Yeah.
One video, one of the videos that we are not even seeing daily now, we're seeing hourly,
Yeah.
of one child asking if they are going to die. That alone should have gotten the world to stand up and not sit back down. And the fact that that hasn't happened has seriously shocked us Arabs because we used to see the movie Lawrence of Arabia. I think I was telling you about it. It's like I was watching Lawrence of Arabia recently.
That was a nickname of mine, by the way.
Omar Sharif is in it, right?
Yes,
Lawrence
and
of
that's
Arabia.
actually why I watched it. I love Omar Sharif.
Yeah.
But
You know what his real name is? Omar Sharif.
tell me.
Michel Shalahoub.
Yes. Well done.
Good job.
Right here.
That's
Represent.
lovely. You
Hey, man,
definitely
all the
give us
Shahubs are popping
Lawrence.
except for you.
Yeah, we're
You
getting
give
there.
us the Lawrence of Arabia vibes.
So you were watching Lawrence of Arabia?
But I'm thinking
Shade.
now you would. I'm not throwing shade. If I wanted to throw shade,
No,
I'd
my
be
middle
more
name is
blunt
Lawrence,
about
so
it.
they call me Lawrence of Arabia.
Say tamanni ma'ak one more time.
Make fun of it.
Tamil Mac.
Honestly, you know what?
But this
You
is
want to
Risha.
be. You want to be
This is-
depicted. You want to be depicted.
Keith Halik.
It's just so cringy when you do that. Like, isn't it cringy? It's like,
It is cringe.
like,
But I want to hear. I
Bro.
want to hear the
Lawrence of
I don't know
Arabia.
why. We're. I love this banter.
The Meddling,
No,
man.
continue, guys, please. Like, let's
You-
see whose accent is worse than the other.
I think
Keep,
he's the best. I'm second, and he's the worst.
hell no.
And I think you're better than Talal.
No, Talal is fine.
Talal is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, you were watching the
Egyptian.
movie.
I was watching
Tell
the
them,
movie.
ask them to say the cough.
Say cough.
Golf. Golf? Like the letter?
Yes.
Golf.
Cough.
Golf, calf.
Is that's what we call
in
in Egyptian alsha. You just alasht.
علاش يعني
إيه،
زناخ يعني
alsha.
زناخة
Oh,
يعني.
الصراحة. بس no, alsha
Because they're
حلوة.
saying cough, they're not saying cough.
Golf.
I don't even think my cough is good.
Remember the whole Gaelic thing?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. We'll save that one. We'll spare her.
I want to hear the rest of the story.
Do you though?
I do.
You're
Do you
not
want to
acting
tell
like
it?
I don't know.
You said
You
to
got the
tell me.
letter.
Okay,
You're-
so basically, this guy, I'm actually quite surprised that you want to be depicted as
I'm not
Lawrence of
saying that
Arabia. No,
I
that's
wanna
what
be
you said.
Lawrence
You
of
kinda
He's like the
said.
white savior, right?
He's the white.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the last samurai. They were the last of the Mohicans. So why not be the last Arab?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, the Lawrence.
It's insane. So I'm watching this movie, and you realize that. And the thing is, I watched it before, long time ago, yeah. And I had the reaction of laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of you hear whenever there's like Arabic in the background, you hear them just going lululululul or something. He's the one. It shows them having, and it just goes to. First of all, it's completely wrong. It's written by the guy. The other thing is, it just goes to show that they leave their men behind. They're quite brutal. There's this barbarism about them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I laughed the first time I watched it a long time ago. Now that I watch it, I realize how dangerous it is. And especially when you're in the region, we're all predominantly Arab.
Yeah.
So you don't realize that there's an issue.
Yeah.
Until you live abroad, you live in the West, you see how people then start to see you, and you see that it's because they've been fed this narrative where we're just like sort of the other. We're not human even.
Yeah.
And if we're left on our own accord, we're going to dismantle everything, which isn't the case. Like everything that we are seeing now, and I think historians are trying to play down the how especially Arabia is looking now post all of this Western meddling, but it is, you cannot deny how
the effect.
Exactly, especially because these different power plays were playing we're playing in these countries like a sort of tug of war towards resources, The Brits wanted control from the Ottomans, from the Russians, and where are they doing this? And once, for example, you see one country trying to nationalize their resources, we need to now
time to go and give them democracy. Yeah, and they've been splitting the Arabs up, like when you find oil, USA,
America with the fucking helicopters.
But I mean, the West, they split up the whole Middle East and put all these Arabs in different countries and fund one side and the other side.
And the other side.
And then they say, "Oh, you guys always kill each other." It's like, well, if America wasn't there, then
if you were meddling in our affairs so heavily on purpose, wanting to divide us.
Well, they also don't want anyone to be strong unless you're like
with them.
And with them, exactly.
Once you start to just be like, let go, let go a little bit. It's like, he's gonna be a threat to us, and then you see two colonizers put their heads together, and this is why what you're seeing now. It's not that colonialism has ended. It's just it's gotten a facelift so that it's more sustainable. And
it's imperialism.
And it is, and it's really everywhere. And this is why when you talk about freeing Palestine, there's so much more meaning to it. And then going back to the nuances and the different culture, and something that maybe the West doesn't realize is that even if and this is what happened with a lot of the countries, even when they were doing well, even when the idea of being colonized, the idea of not feeling free, and I don't know, I was just saying, I don't know the English word for it, ihana. Sometimes killing me, I'd rather you kill me than disrespect me.
Yeah.
And this affects us. Even if I'm living great and I'm fine, I don't want to feel like I'm being occupied.
Yeah.
And this is something that I, for example, experienced when I was in Egypt. You go, I know I told you I don't want to personalize anything, but I love free diving.
Okay. Nice.
And I'd
Like
go
in
free
the
diving.
water?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't free dive in the
sky.
sand.
No, like base jumping off a
skydiving.
cliff.
No, I have a fear of heights a little bit.
No, it's
So-
a very
Hold on,
Egyptian,
wait.
very Egyptian hobby, I think, to have like al-bahr.
But-
Yeah,
Like
we
scuba
have a
diving?
beautiful sea.
think
The
about
best
this.
sea is in Egypt.
Yeah.
The Red
So
Sea,
if you're-
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Are
If
you
you're
kidding?
diving-
Best
Amazing.
diving.
Best
If
beaches.
you're diving down, isn't that still
sure.
heights?
She's
Yeah,
not-
but upside down.
And there's water also.
Wait, are
Me
you
and
not?
you are
You're
gonna
not.
have a talk.
You're not actually diving. You're just going. You're like scuba diving.
Bro,
There's
it's
scuba
free
diving, but
With
free
no
diving is
tank.
more of a sport.
You
so
don't have any gear on you.
no, so free diving is no tank.
That's
It's more
badass.
sports.
Yeah.
Diving is with a tank.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's badass.
But you'd see that you'd have a center open and it's run by Westerners, and I'll never forget something, and it hurt me so much, and it didn't hurt me just because of the incident. Just because when something happens and you keep replaying it in your head, you're like, I wish I had said this. I should have said this.
Yeah.
I was my instructor was this Canadian guy.
Okay.
And he goes, and there was an incident where there was a bus crash, on the road.
Okay.
So I got my friend texted me, there was a bus crash. I see the text and I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. There was a bus crash on the way here. And he goes, what nationalities? I was like, they were mostly Egyptian. He's like, that's fine then.
What?
And first of all, this
In
is my
Egypt?
teacher. This is in Egypt. This is my teacher. We're about to get in the water. My life is in this
Right.
Muppet's hand. And I froze.
What
And
the
in your
heck?
head, especially, you know, Arabs, you are the teacher, so you are, you know,
Respect.
I respect you no matter.
Ustaz.
So it just kind of like, and then I
think
started.
the question of what nationality were, like the fact
Yeah,
that he
the
even
fact that
asked
he
that
checked even.
was
But
crazy.
Wait,
I
before I
didn't-
give thoughts and prayers,
Yeah.
are they
Well,
Arabs?
are they
Let me
Arabs?
say.
skin color.
Because if they Arabs, that's not a problem,
Yeah,
you know?
what the hell? This is a real
Yeah.
story.
This is a real story, but this
Insane.
is a story out, and you
This is
see it
everywhere.
like they treat the locals in a way, you know, they come in and they're like, we know better,
Right.
And you see them when they're even talking about like sustainability or when they're, it's like you don't know how to run yourself,
Right.
so we're gonna help you. That same thing,
Yeah.
and I started, and I think that incident sort of got me to just open my eyes a little bit more.
Yeah.
That
You did a deep dive, right?
astaghfirullah.
I'll give him that
After
one.
that,
That was
Honestly,
Yeah.
stop, guys.
You get one clap.
yeah,
gotta
one
clap.
solo.
Give him
Let's talk
something.
about
Yeah.
free diving real quick though. Have you done a deep dive into the like all the like crazy accidents that have happened?
What
Have
do
you
you
seen
mean?
like people getting stuck underwater and they're like their scuba gear or they just like get.
Yeah, but
It's-
I mean that's
doesn't that give you,
gonna
like-
happen anyway.
Do you do those like
Actually,
do you do
free
cave diving,
diving-
and inside caves and stuff?
No, you need a specific license to that. I don't.
License.
I have a normal.
So if you see a cave,
Like
you're
dive.
like can't do it.
Where do you
Can't
dive?
do
I need a
it.
license.
The best dives are in Egypt, hands down.
No, but
hands
which-
down.
where-
You have you have Akhawain, you have amazing shark dives if you want, and we have it all. We have the corals. I don't know how
I
to
saw
say
the
corals.
cor-
I say
I-
corals very bad.
Corals.
Say coral.
What's it in
Corral.
touche?
Yeah.
What's it? What? How do you say
Coral.
coral?
Coral.
Coral.
Corral.
Is that no I? Coral.
Coral.
Yeah, there you go.
Coral. So you have that. You have the caves. You have the shipwrecks. You have it all. And even when you like talking about colonialism, you know, you go to Thistlegorm and you see how they were it's madness. It's everywhere, and you still see it. And I think. Okay, when we look at history, because we tend to be selfish, you see this your lifespan, that is the history.
Yeah.
And when you study history, you don't think of like from this to 79, it was 10 years in between, so you assume that they were stuck together. Your mind just does that. But what you don't see is that history and the downfall of things and the uprisings, they take time.
Yeah.
So especially with everything that's happening, us freeing our own selves, it's going to take time, and
Yeah.
we need to have that patience. When you look at the history and when you look at how things take so much time, you realize that this is the beginning of the end, for example. But the end is inevitable,
Right.
but it's going to take
Takes
time.
time,
And this
yeah.
is why you just can't stop that wheel.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting.
No, 100%. 100%.
Are you guys texting each other?
No.
No. Should we?
Maya.
I don't know, you're
Maya's
on your
her
phone.
way.
I
I
was
wasn't
trying
on my
I was
phone.
trying to pull something up, but real quick before
phone just stays
I
on.
pull it up. Question. سيرة البيتشز in Masr. دهب or Sahid?
I prefer the hub.
Yeah?
Because it's a free diving spot. I
Okay.
love it. But you also have amazing in
prefer
the
the
North
hub.
Coast.
What about Skandaria? That's for the tourists.
Skandaria is the
right?
best.
Oh, is it?
Alexandria is the best.
Yeah?
Skandaria.
Yeah, it's the best. I love it. I love it. I love it.
But
Especially in
isn't that
winter.
named after a colonizer?
Oh, well, whatever.
Speaking of colonialism,
Everything
yeah.
is.
Everything is. You know,
Why do we call it that still?
Look, honestly, pick your battles. Yani one thing at a time. We're still starting to free ourselves. Remember when we were just saying about that guy and
Yeah.
the coach and me doing that deep dive into things? People are realizing, people are waking up. And then there's going to be that ripple effect,
Right,
you know?
right.
And we need to prioritize. And this is why we need to unify. Especially when in these kinds of revolutions or these movements, you're going to have all kinds of bedfellows, you know, and this is why you can't just be like, oh, you didn't talk about this, you didn't do this,
Right.
you did this, you did this. Instead, just focus on the main goal and really connect together to do that. Don't
Yeah.
pinpoint what someone is not doing. Pinpoint what you want to do,
Yeah.
what you can sacrifice,
Yeah.
what is the ultimate goal here. It's freedom and freedom for all. Enough of this. So the worst thing to do is to then just, you know, start nitpicking. Who's
Point
not
fingers
doing?
on
Point
each other.
fingers. No.
Yeah.
Accept
Some
the
stick
fact.
together.
Accept
Yeah.
the fact that we're all walking on this road together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So how do we fix the perception?
What perception?
I think it starts with fixing it within ourselves, because
Yeah,
to your point,
actually.
like we start pointing at each other because we've become, I think I saw you post something about this at some point, but we become indoctrinated by this like colonial mindset. So we
Yes.
internalize this idea that, oh, the West and knowledge is all, you know, the scholarship and this advancement is out there. And it first starts with reeling that back in within ourselves and realizing our greatness, our power, how cool our culture is, and embracing it, right?
Yeah.
And not pointing, then that means you don't point at the next guy because, you know, you're not faulting them since it's in you, and then maybe that's can
And
start the
especially
wheel.
because we are still needing to bridge the gap between especially people in the diaspora and people of the region itself, so that we are united, so that we also understand each other's backgrounds, each other's everything, and really be kind towards one another, because I don't know. I really love us, you know.
Yeah.
I love when a teta comes up to me in a shop and whatever, recognizes that we're doing what we're doing, and she starts, you know, patting my head and being like "بدعيلك" and just walks off, and we have like a conversation for 2 hours. She doesn't know my name, I don't know her name.
Right.
I love this. Like I remember this because one time I was traveling and. I posted about this. I had this one incident, and I forgot all my English. I was in a panic attack, and I'm like crying and then speaking in Arabic, and this poor man isn't able to help me because I just forgot everything. And it was an Algerian family that picked up. They come in, they tell him, "Thank you, we'll handle it from there," and they just fed me first thing, of course. Yani. And then they just helped me out, and and it was just so beautiful, you know. This is us, and we need to remember that this is us. And look at the. I'm sorry, but look at the Western scenario of people living in these like solitudes. It is annoying when you have your Aunt Susan like right here being like, I saw Rahma today in the protest and she did not do her hair, and like this مش عارف ايه. It does get annoying when they're like really in your life. But you know what? I'd rather that than me being my lonesome self and like this.
True.
So we do have our issues.
It's like the cost you have to pay for
The
this
cost,
warmth
you're
and
not gonna
closeness.
get, but you get the warmth and closeness.
Yeah.
You get that
Yeah.
I have an issue. I expect you to help.
Right.
Like I expect you to pick me up, to bring me to the podcast, since you are Arab
And
man.
we were right on time. We were right on time.
Yes, that was also Arab of me. I'm so sorry for being late. That was more whatever.
Stick to
Anyway,
your
I
roots.
don't wanna stick to the bad stereotypes, but
Right.
Okay, let's talk. So, you want to talk perception. When people say Egypt, immediately they think about the pyramids, right? Like,
I have a story on that.
so I want you to tell the people amazing things about Egypt. The music.
I heard it was in Africa.
Hollywood.
It is in Africa.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself? I mean, is it?
I consider myself African. I consider myself Arab.
Is it Afro-Arab? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Both.
What I don't.
All these new terms and
I think labels. I know I have that on my social media, but I think labels tend to constrict you, and people expect certain things. You know, and this shouldn't be the case. It's okay to be everything and its opposite, and realizing that makes you more malleable and also not egotistical. If I am this, you're not anything. You are nothing. My very Egyptian mother reminds me that I am nothing every day. You know, and it's good because when you're nothing, you're everything. When you're, it's a beautiful thing.
True.
And I'm so sorry, but yeah, an African mom, a cliche African mom, is exactly like my mom. You know, and like your cliche you know, one of my friends' mom, she's Nigerian.
Right?
So her mom, and her mom shouts at me
the same way she shouts
if
at her
I was
daughter.
in a Western country, she'd be like, "Oh, darling, would you like, I don't know what," but it's just that we didn't pick up the dishes or we didn't do this, and it is beautiful. It can be overbearing for sure, you know, your privacy or whatever, but it's nice. About Egypt, I'll tell you. Tell you a story.
Tell us the story about in Egypt.
So
The pyramids, right?
Yes, we have pyramids.
Okay.
They're beautiful, you know, and they're not just in Cairo, by the way. People think they're just in Cairo. You have them in Minya, and I love that Egypt has it all. I love my country.
The original nose job was the Sphinx, right?
Yeah, well.
That's why.
I want my country to be, you know, I want Egypt to be what it's hopefully going to be. But like, given everything, I understand that it's just. I can't get into that.
Yeah, let's. But yeah, the good. You have a good story.
I do have a story.
Yeah.
So I was actually covering. I used to be a field reporter. I was covering the Mitt Romney and Obama elections, and that's also something that was just such a talk about deep dive. That was a deep
Mitt Romney.
Yes, it was a deep dive.
You were covering it here?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was traveling states, and then I remember I walked into a shop in New Mexico, and this woman sees me, and she's like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm like, I'm from Egypt. And I expected her to go, your beautiful cliches, the beautiful sea, the pyramids, the tourism, the temples, the. And she goes, "Oh, you poor thing, to be all the way out here. We know what they do to y'all. I don't even want to know your story." And I'm just like...
That was a very good Southern accent.
Oh, thank you. People make fun of it. Like, I wanted to actually add it in.
No, that's great.
But like, I look at her, and here I am about to, school her and tell her what's up.
Yeah.
How could you say something like that? That's so untrue. That's a stereotype. And she goes, "You know what? You take these earrings for free." And I'm just like, they also look us up in the pyramids. I wanted the matching necklace. So I got free earrings and a necklace. But now, with everything that's going on, I realize that maybe I should have, given my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 cents or $200, because technically, didn't you do what the... Didn't you do technically what the guy, Alu Mu'addam, and he took it?
No. It's
different.
Completely
This is
different.
she feels.
She
bad
sounded like
for her.
she genuinely wanted to give you that free stuff.
Yeah, she did. She thought I was
poor
a
thing.
victim.
Right.
She thought I was like, she also romanticized. She made this idea in her head that I rode
in.
camels
Oh,
to
man.
come to New Mexico. She made the scenario. She's like bored at home.
Yeah.
So she decided this the Egyptian who walked into the store is gonna be this,
She's gonna save her.
Yeah, she's gonna save me with these earrings, and she's probably gone home and said this wild
I
story
gave
about
this poor, bless her heart.
bless her heart. It's just insane.
Poor thing.
Funny.
Yeah, we're not poor things.
No, we're not.
Really not poor things.
Well, she probably never met an Arab before.
Exactly. So and the thing is, that's another thing. We always wanted to appease them, to show them who we are. Listen to this, and that's another thing that was shocking. A lot of us assumed, it is the case, but a lot of us assumed that they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know us. And once they know, things are going to change.
Right.
But then they know.
The disappointment.
And the shock that you have when you realize that they are very much aware, especially the media personalities.
Oh, yeah.
But they are purposely not doing something about it. And you get, and it's blood boiling.
Yeah.
When you watch these American politicians and they're smirking and they're spending more time schooling journalists on how many questions they ought to have than realizing, Habibi, we're talking about the massacre of children.
Yeah.
I want to say a bad word. Fahim? Like, it's just, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So much deflecting and gaslighting.
That's even worse when they know that, like, oh, we know that all these stereotypes aren't true, but we're gonna keep pushing them.
I think because they know our strength, they know our power in our culture,
And that's what we say.
They always try to cripple our societies.
Look, at the end of the day, it's also good to be balanced. It's good to be realistic.
Yeah.
We need to work on things as well.
Right.
We really need to work on. We need to we need to do a lot of work, and it's back to what you said in the sense of it is empowering yourself. Also, it is understanding yourself, and then it's free diving. Free diving is like that. Is realizing that you are stronger than you think. You go down underwater, the pressure starts to increase, you want to breathe, you start to get a panic, and then you're like, listen, you're good.
Yeah.
You're fine. And then you make it down to the bottom, and
That's
you're
how
like,
stubborn we are as Arabs.
I'm so strong. And it's
I'd
not
rather-
the stubbornness, actually. It's the letting go. And it's the letting go of ego. It's the letting go of you being in control. And maybe I think you need.
I need
You need some free diving. Yeah.
I need to skydive.
He needs a
You
couple
need a lot of
things. You need a
things.
couple.
You got a lot
You
of
need
issues.
Arabic lessons for one.
You
Your
need-
southern accent.
Yo.
I like it. I think it's good.
That was real good.
Yeah, I like accents.
You should have been. I mean, Egypt is like the Hollywood of
Yeah.
the Middle East. You should have been an actress.
Thoughts?
Can we ask
About,
what
well,
you...
no, I mean, I know it's probably hard for Arab men to even go into that like that kind of field, entertainment. Arab women probably have it even worse.
I mean, the soap operas and all that go pretty hard. In the Middle
I don't
East.
know. I think
I don't
it's
know, is there
fine.
like a
I have a
stigma?
lot
lot
of
of good female
I have
actresses.
a lot of amazing female actresses. You have Tara Ahmed, you have Salma Boudif, you have Huda Mufti, you have really
so
great
it's
girls.
very accepted over there to like
Oh
go.
yeah, for
Be in
sure.
certain boundaries.
And these are people who've been outspoken and they're from the day one, you know.
Who's the one we met at the Enigma, or we saw at the Enigma event, Enigma magazine?
You have
Munazaki.
Munazaki.
Yeah.
Munazaki. She's the queen.
Yeah.
She's lovely, and she's also. You feel like she's gone through that, you know, self-work, and
Right.
and I saw an interview of hers, and she's just absolutely. We have beautiful people, and these actresses are absolutely beautiful, and they've spoken up, and they have backbone,
Yeah.
and they're here and there. We have so much. You know, and this is what I mean. You know, look at what you have and empower your own.
Right.
And instead of waiting for this American, I don't know
For
who
Lawrence.
to
Savior.
say, instead of looking for Lawrence, go to Munazaki. You know,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, like
Or Ahmed Zaki.
But also to deviate from that a little bit. You do realize with something like this that there are no heroes, there are no
Right.
idols. You shouldn't wait for anyone to speak up. ولا أي حد. It doesn't matter. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about anyone. Don't personalize this issue. The Palestinian plight is not your plight. It's ours. It's everyone's. It's just freedom for all. And realizing that. Why? Because it is very dangerous to tie a person to a cause. What ends up happening? This person gets discredited, or you no longer like this person, or this person's political views don't align with yours, or
Right.
you feel like this person is not doing enough.
Yeah.
You start to tie it into the cause and how you feel about it, and this is why this shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
And or I shouldn't say it shouldn't. I'm not in a place to say what ought to not happen. But
It's
what
a negative thing to happen.
But it is a negative thing to make it about you, to make it about where, you know, like, and to make it about also idolize. What's the word? Idolizing. Idolizing people and putting them on a pedestal. There are no more pedestals, you know. خلاص, we're
100%.
all in this together. It's a grassroots movement, because we've seen it with a lot of movements before, with like revolutions. When you pinpoint people and then you pump them up, and then they get discredited. The people who were following them for the cause, they start to, you know, just like disperse.
Yeah.
So instead,
the discrediting usually
you
happens
know,
from the
and there are people who are silent on social media and doing so much more than the people who are vocal.
Yeah.
You don't know, they just don't happen to have Twitter or what's it called.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you were, I know we're not making this about anybody, but mashallah, you were doing a lot on the ground from the beginning of
I
what's
like
happening.
groundwork. I don't like technology. I like to meet people. I like to see them. I like to.
I mean, you're not doing too bad on the technology either. Mashallah, you're sharing a lot of content for a lot of people to
clicking
see.
a button,
Like
it's
five
fine.
posts a day for the past year doing there. Mashallah, don't minimize.
Yeah. Honestly, this is what I mean when like it does kind of. It does kind of get upsetting when you really are trying, and that's what I mean about like Arabs empowering each other. I remember I did this one speech, and I went and you know, it's whatever. I don't want to say like what you sacrifice or what you do. It doesn't matter, but you do it because you really feel like it's important. And I did. I gave the speech and like with 8 people, and none of like most of them weren't even Palestinian or like Arab even.
Yeah.
And then, you know, someone just pointed out at me. It's like, why is she speaking? And it's like pointing out the Arab woman again. And I'm like, you're supposed to be like,
Right.
you're supposed to be like shaking my hand and be like, tell me what I should do, and like, or what I think this is what you ought to do, and like a nice, like have a discussion.
Constructive way.
Don't start attacking me as to what I ought to and ought to not do. Who cares about me, aslan?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You do. and then, for example, then ask me to and I always say my platform is everyone's platform now. You want me to collaborate, we collaborate too, and I want to like get like banned and they stop it.
Right.
But you know, I'm being at least tactful about that.
Yeah.
Connect, like let's connect each other. You want
Yeah.
this person's contact. You
Yeah.
want this person to speak. This person ought to, you know. It's when we talk about empowerment, we need to act up on it.
I love that about our community. We're very, very much so empowering each other. Right now.
And speaking of that, can I take this time to just, there's Amir Al Gharbawi, and I'll share you guys his Instagram.
Yeah.
He's a parkour player.
Oh,
Amir. I love Amir.
I love parkour.
He's been doing amazing work, and he's finally in Cairo.
okay.
Any other situation, this guy would have gotten picked up in an instant by brands because of his story, also because of his talent and everything, and his struggle, and he's the perfect brand ambassador. But because he's Palestinian, you're not seeing these brands fighting over him.
Wow.
So this is a call out. If you are a brand of ethical value, I don't want to be like this bullying, like condescending or whatever, but you should, you know, reach out to Amir. Have a backbone.
100%.
A sports brand to sponsor a Palestinian parkour player. That'd be something to see. That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
You're talking about connections and collaborations and stuff. We went out last night, right?
Yes.
And you and Greg Stoker were. It was an incredible sight to behold. We saw
You guys arguing or something?
We didn't argue.
What happened?
We didn't argue. He thinks I was arguing. I was very calm. I was
Very
so
calm.
nice.
I'm gonna overlay the picture of what you actually look like.
You can edit this if I don't like what he says, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Everything you'll watch it and you'll approve or disagree.
I'm not.
course.
I'm gonna
Nah,
let you
it's
talk
joke.
about
Well,
it.
tell us
In
about
general,
it.
that's how we do
Yeah.
it.
So
What happened
we went to
yesterday?
the Rainbow Room after
He's gonna say I'm gonna watch.
No,
what
I want
is-
you- I
No,
want
no.
We went to the watermelon
Go.
pictures.
Go.
Go.
Take it.
We went to the watermelon pictures event. It was an
Yes.
incredible event. Walled off. Shout out Anwar. Shout out the watermelon pictures. And like
Yeah, shout out Watermelon Pictures, goddamn
yeah.
it. Go ahead.
God damn it. So we decided to go out after, right? We went to the Rainbow Room. Showed you, the
LA
staples
scene.
of Hollywood.
Staples of the Staples Center.
Right.
Go ahead.
And somehow, like I walk out again. We abnormalized being. His name is Lars. He's wearing like full keffiyeh stuff. So I go in to get a drink, and then I come out, and I see he's
A drink of water.
yes, keeping it halal.
I want to talk about that, by the way.
Yeah. And then I come out and I see that he's talking to like two, darker skinned men. I believe one was from Iran and one was from Morocco. And I'm like, oh, how did this happen? And then I start to listen to the conversation and I see that it's definitely
Escalating.
a little bit.
Two sides of the issue.
He's a Moroccan that labels himself also Israeli.
Oh,
And
okay.
No, he didn't.
He
He
did,
doesn't
yeah.
even have an Israeli passport.
but he said he was Israeli, and he's like, he's like,
Well,
I'm
he
not-
changed the conversation later on.
yeah, he definitely got, yeah. So then Rahma and Greg came and as like backup, the support,
Yeah.
and I just let them do it, and it was now let's take.
No.
Oh, so it wasn't you and Greg arguing. It was you and Greg against.
Why would me and
someone
Greg
else.
argue?
No.
Me and
There was-
Greg, I
there were the
just said unity, same team.
know.
They're
That's
the
what I was-
Avengers of like
Absolutely not.
pro-Palestinian.
We're
Yeah.
just saying, no one is an Avenger. No one is anything. No
It
one
looked like
is
it at one
nothing.
point. It looked like
I think when we were arguing that kind of.
yeah.
But no, I mean, it is interesting. Bear in mind, I'm with predominantly Arabs. I'm with there. We congratulate each other. We all, and this is why sometimes it is difficult. You feel like you're in an echo chamber. We all
100%.
believe.
Right.
But when you do travel to somewhere like Los Angeles, when we do travel to New York and what they dub belly of the beast, and then you do encounter, I'm like, oh, brainwashing is real. And I told him, this guy, I'm like, you're in Stockholm syndrome. And honestly, if you are going,
As a Moroccan.
if you're going to decide that you are Moroccan, ahlan wa sahlan.
Right.
But if you're going to decide the occupation,
Yeah.
then you need to let go of your Moroccan tea.
Right.
You
Choose a side. Pick
can't
one.
just, you chose to be a new whatever this is.
Yeah.
then خلاص.
Right.
Then let go of the hummus. Then
Yeah.
let go of the Moroccan
You
tea.
can't let
then
go of
let
the
go of
hummus.
this. Then
Instead
let
of letting
that.
go, they add it to the
They
new
took
identity.
what they took what they've gotten from Yemen, from Egypt, because these are people from all over the world.
Build
and
a
it's
bear.
like, and it's like, it's just it is very bizarre, this collection of individuals from all over the world that are deciding to take on their cultures from where they've come from and call it this. No, you want to do this, you make up something new. I don't know about what it is.
Especially if you're going to kill the people that you're associating
I'll tell you
yourself
something
with.
really interesting. So I was talking to one climate activist. She's an amazing person. I don't want to give her name just for security because she lives in like all sort of things. But she was saying, she's like, so what they do is they import trees from Europe, okay, so that it looks more like home. And these trees start attacking the indigenous trees.
Oh yeah. They're
literally.
And
they're
that
parasitic,
and that alone, that story
literally.
alone can be used
as a metaphor.
as a metaphor to what's happening.
Yeah. The trees are what do they call it when it's a species that's
Invasive.
an invasive? They bring invasive species and they start killing the olive trees and other good trees.
No, they burn the olive trees because
And
it's
that
on their
too.
land. It's not yours.
Right.
And honestly, to allow these people to do what they're doing, it's dangerous. It's a danger on our whole region. So those who think that it's got nothing to do with them, it has everything to do with you. And don't listen to the politics right now. I'm talking, look at what's happening on the ground. Look how they're speaking about us. They don't like you as an Arab.
Yeah.
And this is what killed me. I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said that no matter what they do, we are not able to obtain the level of hate that comes to them naturally. Yani at the end of the day, if there's a baby in my hand, it's a baby.
Right.
To them,
Terrorist.
whatever يعني.
French accent.
يعني ما اعرفش يعني بس
لا
لا
شيء مش
الموضوع عجيب.
معقول لا عن جد.
Like what is this? What is who are you to be able to look at a child who is trying to get food and shoot them? How? And then how are we debating this?
Right.
Yeah. But do you
And
understand
then-
how they got to that point? Like, do you understand?
I mean,
like,
there's-
do you understand? Like, oh, this is just a person who was just taught the wrong things, you know?
But it's like at some
they
point
are
you can't.
brainwashed.
You can't.
If you humanize these people, you're going to you're gonna have to admit to your crime. If if I see you as a friend, if I see you as a human, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm so sorry for what I've done to you, because it's gonna dawn on you the criminal that has
So
happened.
all you have to do is not see them as human.
So all I have to do
And you're good.
is justify this for me
you're
by
bad.
you know undermining them again, this is when we talk about the nuances of it all, that they don't understand the ihana part, just these checkpoints. And then you look at the child and you're like, imagine you are a child, okay, and you see your father in a checkpoint going through what they're going through. And I saw it in the director. She is amazing. She made this short film, Farah Nabolsi, and I was in tears. And I urge everyone to watch the short film. I'll send you its name.
What's it about?
It's basically it's a day in the life of a Palestinian going through a checkpoint, and it's something as simple as him going to buy a fridge. It's his wedding anniversary, and he's coming back with his beautiful daughter. And then what happens throughout their journey is it kills you. It kills you, and it kills you because it's intangible. It kills you that it's not even the brutality, it's this mental warfare that they do. You know, the ihana, the disrespect, the fact that you have this child with a gun that's telling you to wait there as his, and imagine you're the daughter, and there's so much imagining where you want to put yourself in each one of their situations. The daughter who's watching her father go
be
through
emasculated.
this. If I saw this happen to my father, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know what I'd do.
I mean, where's the human rights? Where's the dignity? Where's the respect to
Where's
life?
the dignity?
Where's the equality?
But then they do this, and then they have to
can't,
admit
you
to
can't.
everything.
There's-
And this is the problem with the colonialist mindset of people here, outside of the occupation even. You know? If they start seeing Arabs as humans, they're gonna have to admit to it. They're gonna have to admit to what they have done. This long history, and this is what again tied into the fact that history takes time. Maybe this is just the unraveling of the 18th century and beyond. You know.
Yeah.
To Atif's point, it's like when you get to that point that you're this desensitized to another human, that you're this attached to an idea that's so destructive, you have to denounce everything you basically hold true, your entire identity, in order to completely be with humanity.
Take a new identity.
And take a new identity of acceptance. And so it means denouncing some of your family, because a lot of them have this thought. It means your society. So it's a difficult thing to do when you're in that position. But what's even more difficult, I think, is to end up in that position in the first place and become so just barbaric in your thinking towards others.
I mean, I like to look at the positives that, you know, that at this point, I feel like people are seeing Arabs as, you know, humans. We're like kind of forcing them to. And that's why I think everyone's so worried about all these college kids and all the press. They're, you know, trying to spin what it's really about, just so that they don't let people know that what's happening and humanize these victims, you know. And then they just say
at one point,
like,
there's only so much time you can cry wolf, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody believes it anymore. And you saw it happen, like, you know, obviously.
Yesterday.
Yeah. So when I'm gonna get to.
It was beyond. It was surreal.
So you saw it happen with the reaction on social media. Like, obviously, you know, the occupation bombs the embassy in Syria, the Iranian embassy. Nobody bats an eye. And then Iran responds, and then everyone's like, we, you know, condemn this and that, because obviously it's Iran doing it, and Israel can do no wrong.
The whole world rises to its defense too.
They haven't said, no politician had said condemn in their life until that happened, right? Then,
except for Hamas.
Yeah, exactly. And then the same thing happens now in our college campuses.
Yeah.
They're, you know, you have kids, whether they're Jewish, Muslim, whatever. They're
Jewish being dubbed anti-Semitic. That's
literally.
Yeah.
So they're sitting
Germany,
there.
it's insane.
Yeah. And they're sitting there, and you have a foreign government. You have Netanyahu literally trying to meddle, like he's saying that he's literally directing people, like our government, to crack down on our students.
Yeah.
But we're like, how are we going to let this happen?
Yeah. That's how you know it's making a difference.
He gave us,
it's crazy.
And the fact that, never mind that he did that.
Right.
That he thought it was a good idea to do that. The audacity.
He thinks he can. I mean,
and it just goes to show the chokehold and how dangerous it is.
State of the Union to another country.
It is a pet project in the region gone rogue.
Yeah.
Been rogue since day one.
Yeah.
You know? And khalas, you're not going to keep talking about the history and this and this. It's there. It's there. Take 5 seconds of your time. You look it up. You look up the Haganah. You look at this up.
Yeah.
It's
Once you
nuts.
look it up.
Once you look it up, you're like, oh, well, that's strange.
Right.
And they try, and it was there since day one. The warning was when they said a land without a people, for a people without a land. That sign on its own should have been like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Because there were people.
Right. Right.
And these people were everything.
Right.
And these were the people of Palestine. You tell me, oh, the British mandate, oh, the Ottomans. I don't care. Stop.
Yeah.
This was everywhere around the region.
Right. Yeah. Like,
Right.
Stop
there are
it.
people.
Yeah.
Don't stop it.
Right.
You know, sometimes, I swear, there was I'm going to massacre the name, Mustafa Barghouti or something, where he just said, shut up. And then,
Shut up.
Shut
Can
up.
you shut up, please, so I can talk?
Shut up
Shut
your
your
face.
mouth.
And
Shut
the
up
thing
your
is-
mouth, Obama.
and the thing is,
Obama.
at one point, you're like, I
Yeah,
heard
literally.
that interview, I was like, why haven't we just been saying that?
Yeah, literally that works.
So,
pretty well.
yesterday we had that.
Hassan
You're
Piker.
talking and you're arguing, and
Hassan Piker too, yeah.
and Greg is giving them statistics, and I'm giving them Sharifi, and he's
Fish
giving them,
Friday.
and you're saying everything, and then
They're like,
he said, what did he say?
he goes,
he
"Do you hate
says,
me?"
oh yeah, no, he didn't say, do you hate me? He's like, we are threatened. I'm like,
you can
who's
see the wheels turning. Like, what are they
And then
gonna? What excuse are they
And
gonna?
I
Yeah,
looked at him,
what's
and the thing is, and you see the difference. When we were talking, it was like a collective. It was like the region. He suddenly made it about him,
His poor little self.
and that's what dawned on me. And I'm like, it's It's not
What did he
about
say
you.
though? He
Yeah.
said like
He was like basically that their lives are
No, this is what he goes.
Is
He's like,
dangerous.
he stops the conversation and he goes, I have one question. Do you want to kill me?
I don't remember that one, but it was just.
You know what this is?
Do you want to hate me?
You know what
Or do
this
you-
was?
you
You
hate
know
me?
what?
well,
Do
because
you hate me?
he's taught that we all hate him.
This is a
that
fear.
is
It's a
true.
fear. It's
Like-
a fear response. It's an irrational fear response that has been like bred into their hearts that they are
That
supposed
the Arabs
to fear for their
are
lives
the Arabs
because we're
are-
barbaric, because
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
not human, because we're capable.
And if
wanna-
we're left on our own accord, and this is what I realize, some of even the Americans believe here,
Yeah.
that if we're left on their own accord, the Arabs will come. We don't want.
Yeah.
I have great weather. I'm
Right.
just talking about my beautiful sea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
they're coming for you
we don't-
next.
The Iraqis don't want to come to America.
Right.
We just want you to stop meddling in our affairs.
Right.
So that we can see then how things are going to play.
Yeah.
I'm dying to know
Yeah.
what would have happened
What would have been?
if you hadn't, gotten
Destroyed
rid of
everything.
Mossadegh in Iran.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
would have happened? What would have happened if you hadn't, meddled here? I'm so curious.
Probably wouldn't have had an ISIS.
Or
For,
what would have happened? Their customized democracy
Yeah.
is basically them having this tug of war on resources and which one is going to have more power in Arabia. But once you do that, it's like you're creating this hybrid that won't work.
Right.
And it is going to take time that you're gonna now be independent and fix all of these. But give us that chance.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
It is time that you stop. If we leave them on our own accords, why am I a child?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're just an animal, according to this line of thinking.
Wallahi, and especially this is about the double standard that
Yeah.
kills me.
Yeah.
They keep throwing and shoving political correctness at you, and
Right.
you shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't
Right.
speak like this, and you're barbaric, and but you're the one that's killing children.
Right.
I'd rather you be politically incorrect than bomb me.
100%.
Yeah.
Another thing real quick on this idea of when they always come back
Guys,
to
we have-
so do you want to destroy Israel or do you want to kill me, like this fear of being targeted or whatever. It's one because they have deemed us barbaric and animals, but it's two, it's a guilt.
Yeah.
Like we've done so much wrong
It's
to
like
you.
projecting.
Sorry, I need to keep doing wrong to
Well,
stop you because
I'll never-
it's like when your cousin's beating you up and he has you in a chokehold.
Yeah.
You can't let go because once you let go,
Once
you're
he
gonna,
lets go, then you're gonna.
so you're afraid. Do you want to kill me?
Do you,
And
like,
it's also
That's
their
what it
like
is.
their get out of jail free card. Like when they know they're losing the
Yeah.
battle, they'll say that as like their like some
You
kind
made
of
me kill
wild
the
card.
kids.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
insane.
Golda Meir said.
Yeah.
She's like, we will never forgive the Arabs for
making us kill
their
their kids.
Crazy.
The most like
Crazy.
Are
circus thing.
Wow.
It's your fault for getting
It's your fault.
the R word, basically.
Yeah. So again, let's do last topic, and let's talk about why you even have to go. You're headed to UCLA after this, right?
Yes.
Encampment.
You gave a speech to the
USC.
USC students.
Yes.
Let's talk about the activism. I know Maya's on her way. I wish we could have, maybe had some interaction because they're both activists. Let's talk about that real quick.
And if you can touch on what you did on the ground too, briefly.
Okay. Well, I'm not an activist. I'm not anything. I'm just doing what I'm doing.
You're not an activist, but you're doing activism.
You're active.
I know.
You're
I'm
active.
active. I think we're all active.
We're all
though.
active.
We
We're all
appreciate the
active.
humility.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. I'm not humble at all. You've seen how I'm not humble. I'm not humble. I know my good. I know my bad. I know my ugly.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I accept it. But yeah, it's so important to point out that it's an us. It's a we
Right.
thing.
No,
And
I
like
love
let's
it.
help
I
each
love
other
it.
out.
Yeah.
Let's
Very important.
it's not
Yeah.
Of course. What do you mean? Of course I want to feel like I'm doing good. I love the pat
course.
on the back, but I shouldn't. No one should.
Well, you're not doing it for the pat on the back, but it is
Right.
a nice.
Actually,
it's a nice
that is very
byproduct.
interesting.
Yeah.
This is what my mother said. Remember when I was telling you about like when I got upset about that one comment about someone pinpointing the one Arab who was like
Yeah.
speaking?
Yeah.
My mom was like, once you start getting upset or thinking about what people are saying, then
Yeah.
you're not doing it for the cause anymore, and then you shut up. And I was like,
That's perfect.
thank you.
Logic,
This is when you step away.
Yeah.
When you start personalizing and getting upset because it's not about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Who are you to get upset?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's not about you. You're just on this road and you keep on jogging with what also appeases your heart
Right.
and what you know is right, and khalas. One of my good friends, and I don't want to say her name, but the siege that happened around the church, And the mother that was killed because she wanted to go to the bathroom, and then her daughter came to help her. They shot her daughter as well. Okay, it's insane what's happening to the Palestinian Christians, and they're already at the kida. Yani, you cannot do this. You cannot.
Yeah, we're so precious.
And they're the oldest, and these are the ones you need to take care of. It. They're original. They're
like if
they're
you
us.
love
They're our heart.
Christianity, Anjad,
You know, how could you?
those are the original.
Because I love my Islam so much, it's a we. It's also for the people in Congo. It's for the people in Sudan. It's for the it's for us. It's an us thing. And I love when I see everyone helping, but it's also the Palestinian Christians who, as soon as this happens, they go, Ya Rab, you know? Yeah. And it's also the Muslims who go, Alhamdulillah, say Alhamdulillah. You saw the videos. He just lost his whole entire family, and the camaraderie, they hold each other and say Alhamdulillah, and it just فعلا, and this is also even in the smallest things. I remember my mom looks at me, she just say Alhamdulillah, say Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, say Alhamdulillah.
Good or bad.
Say Alhamdulillah, but it's even a cultural thing.
Right.
We because worldly things, it's gonna go away.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're gonna die alone. You're here alone, you're gonna die.
Right.
Have fun, sure, do this and be a little bit gluttonous, but be aware.
Yeah.
Life is balanced. Again, be anything and everything, and you know, accept. So about the activism, so that I'm not deviating. I know, because you're like looking at me like.
I was about to say,
question.
like A$AP Ferg said, Alhamdulillah.
Why do you do that?
What? Sorry, I had to say something funny. And then, okay, so about the
she's about to
activism.
cry, bro.
والله العظيم.
It's
وحياة ربنا مين ده؟
He also proceeded to say very vile things a couple lines after that, so I didn't appreciate Ferg bringing God into that song.
We'll take it in a
I don't
vacuum.
remember. Anyway, so yeah, so and it happened in the most Arab way possible.
Okay.
So one of my she's like family, she's getting married. So مبروك يا ريم. Anyway, so she takes me to this coffee shop. I think it was Yemeni. We're sitting, we're having, and then, you know, someone whatever recognized my voice. This girl called Haneen. She goes, "Oh, I'm in USC. Can you come tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Sure." Like, this is literally how it happened.
Yeah, wow.
I'm Muslim, and this was so beautiful, and that's why it's not like, "Hello, can I please ask you?" This is our culture. It's like, "Oh, you owe it to us. You come speak." You know, and I love that. And I told her, I was like, this is how it is, you know? You need something from me. And I love our bluntness and our invasion of privacy. It's not like, "Hello, can I ask you a question?" It's like, "Hey, we're having, yalla, can you come? Yalla." And I can't, no, you come, you know? And it's that sort of, and it happens so naturally. So I'm like, yeah, of course, I'd love to. Am I loud? Can I? No. Right. And also you need to be careful because you don't want to hijack this movement, but it does start with the students, and it's so beautiful when you see that, and you want to tell them, don't use WhatsApp and Instagram to communicate, use Signal. They might try and divide you because they do that, and this is why you don't put people on a pedestal. They also do this other thing in protests where they get someone that looks like they're pro-Palestinian, but they instigate violence. They have these weird signs, and they coordinate with the news channels. The news channel snips that one thing. Like there was this, I don't know, people have different remarks about one actor, American actor, don't even mention his name, doesn't matter, but he got accosted by this one lady, and people, and then it stirred the debate. But that's the thing. That shouldn't be your debate. Right. The debate should be in Palestine about Palestinians, what's happening to them. That's what I'm talking about, deviating. And it's like, look at the type of pro-Palestinians that are there. Habibi, it's everyone. You can't say there's one type, and this is why I'm saying different bedfellows. Right. We're all on this road. You're going to get an array of people and different types of Muslims, different type of Christians, different type of Jews, different types of... It's everyone. It's everyone who's like... It's literally everyone who's saying... Killing kids is wrong, and so is oppression. Yeah,
easy.
Well,
I can't sign up for that.
Like, so you
that's
gave
too wild of an idea right there.
You gave
killing kids is bad.
If you guys haven't seen it yet, go watch her speech she gave at USC. It's amazing. You're about to go do something at UCLA.
I don't know. I'm just gonna go see them at UCLA.
We
should all go.
Let's. So what does divest mean?
Divest, like boycott. Divest means to take something away from something else, like move something from one place
like
to
yeah,
another.
yeah.
The money. Usually it's money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So divestment is huge. It's a major.
Of course, of
So
course.
that's-
And I mean,
yeah.
look,
Stop
I'm
funding,
really
yeah.
bad with money, so I don't understand.
You're an Arab woman. Like, what do you mean?
what do you
Bad
mean? Like,
divestment.
I don't have like.
مكياج
ايوه
Julia.
يا ابني بس فالمهم
She lost all her bags. She went on a shopping spree. That's what happened.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I did not. I think قاعدة بسافر كل I'm like saving as much as possible. Yeah. So that's the thing, and it goes back to your preliminary point. You know, it's people, and it goes back to your preliminary point, and it's even more with you know, when you do start going, hey, why aren't you talking? Why aren't you speaking? And unfortunately, it's all tied down to the money. These are like, some people are the breadwinners, so they're scared to speak up because they know, because now you're losing your job, you're getting deported, it's intimidation on all levels, and that's when you start asking, how much am I willing to sacrifice? Right. And if I can't be vocal about it, there are different forms of being active. It doesn't have to be you shouting on social media. There are enough people shouting on social media.
True.
You can be doing things, and this is why it's the stories of the actual heroes that are on ground. You know, and I say this to people, you're here in Los Angeles, the belly of the beast. I'm with Arabs, they're patting me on the back. I'm not getting the conversations like the one we had yesterday that made my blood boil.
It was incredible to see Motaz at Columbia.
Like, you know what I mean? It's basically you this is why I also say, you don't know the battles that people are going through. You don't know the sacrifices they're doing. You don't know if they're being silent on social media. Maybe they're doing bigger, better work. Maybe they need people who are the ones that are going to help them, you know, facilitate for certain families, for aid work, so they can't be too vocal. They need to be strategic. So don't be this person who's like, why aren't you? What are you? Who are you?
Right.
You do.
Yeah.
You see what is missing in the scene, what you can offer as to be active. Even, and by the way, you are doing something by simply speaking to someone and being, hey, do you know what's happening with this and this and this?
One-on-one.
That's you doing something. You know what? You empowering someone else. You being like, you might lose your job because you're in Canada speaking up, or Germany. Mein Reich, you know. If you are in Germany, so you are in Masharifi, I'll offer you a job. I am an Arab investor. I'm not speaking, but I'm going to invest in Arabs. In tech. Tech is crazy. We definitely need more of the narrative to change there. Check what industry you can work with. There are enough people posting on social media.
It's not the end all be all.
You do have stuff for where the money, you start, because right now there is a vacuum. There's this open field where you've seen all these people are terrible, they condone genocide. So now there's this empty field with all these people that you used to put on a pedestal. Like, you see this person going, oh my God, they actually think like this. And then you start, you know, wondering. So because there's this empty field, now is the time to empower people, you know, work for humanity's sake, not for the worldly stuff. Yeah.
I think that's the second half of boycotting, is to, okay, we're boycotting these companies, let's empower companies
exactly,
that
because
do
you can't just dismantle. You
have
can't
to
just
build.
break things down. You also need to offer solutions. And like my family always says this, think of the solution and then the problem. So be like, okay, we're going to dismantle this, but you do need to give people a thing. You can't just tell them social media, metaverse is horrible. People like it. That gives them the recognition, the pats on the back. So give them something else. So start empowering in the way you know how, in the field that you're in whatever way you also feel comfortable in. Khalas, don't bog yourself down. Life's tough anyway.
100%.
Alhamdulillah, you know.
Alhamdulillah على كل شيء.
Okay, يلا.
Alhamdulillah for having you.
One more question?
Alhamdulillah for having. لا خلاص, one more question. Yeah, I've been talking. خلاص. يلا, wrap it up.
يلا.
Rahma
Zein. Thank you. Bye.
تملي
سلام.
معك.
ربنا يبارك لكم.
Thank you for coming.
يلا.
Habibi House out.